Hello, I'm Matt Bell and I'm from Wolfshoulder Films, and today we're going to be unboxing the Edelkrone Slider Plus, the extra large version. So I'm very excited. I just got it delivered and I haven't opened it yet, so I could share it with you guys. Let's do it. Box fresh. Okay, so the Edelkrone Slider Plus, they do that very modern thing of like the same thing Apple would do, which is not give you any instructions, but just give you a website to look up, to find the manual for your new kit. Edelkrone is, I think, a Turkish company, and they are a bit like Apple, the Apple of the sort of DSLR and small camera gear world. They just make stuff that works and is kind of flush, you know, just works really nicely. So I had the old slider, their smaller one, which was kind of a bit more DSLR-y size, and I used it all the time for corporate videos, for whatever I was shooting, really, drama, weddings, online promos, anything I was shooting, I would use the slider. Sometimes, in fact, you end up overshooting with a slider because they're so cool and you can get so much from just a tiny bit of lateral movement, adds so much to a video. And the old one didn't come in this foam case, so, and it got knocked around a bit, so the rails didn't work as well. So this is a welcome addition. Oh, I love new kit so much. Oh, and there we go. There's the baby itself. It's a really clever design from these guys, which is, well, I'll show you when we undo it. Let me find a way of, there we go. Hopefully you can see that okay. Otherwise, this is a wasted opportunity for unboxing. I guess that's just all to keep it in place. 3 plastic rods. Awesome. You never know when you'll need a plastic rod or two. So, it used to say patent pending on it. I guess they might have got the patent for it now, but this is a new edition. That little screw used to always be sticking out, which meant I guess it was harder to store. But I used to just keep the tripod head on it all the time anyway. Okay, let's have a look at this and see if we can get it together. Am I doing that wrong? No, that's working, that's fine, okay. One real advantage, I think, of being able to do a lateral movement or even a forward or backwards movement with a slider is you actually get to see a perspective shift, which on a static video, as you can see with this video, for example, you don't get to see a change in perspective. If you're really good and you're amazing at sort of hand-holding cameras and manual controls, then you can even try the famous Alfred Hitchcock vertigo shot or contra zoom or trombone shot or whatever you want to call it, where you basically track forward and zoom out at the same time, or track backwards and zoom in. But it's incredibly hard to do handheld. I've successfully achieved it about twice, I think. You can always attach a follow focus to your zoom ring and do it that way, but again, without motion controls, you know, motor controls for your slider, it's incredibly difficult. Sorry, by the way, this is my 3rd coffee of the day, so I'm already like, anyway, right, let's have a look at this. So this is the trusty old Blackmagic Pocket Camera with the Metabone speed booster on it, and a Sigma 18 to 35 1.8 that I got the other day, which I'm really impressed with. It makes this camera much more usable than sticking the I was putting Rokinons or Samyangs or whatever you want to call them on before. I've lost my coin, my magic coin. And yeah, the Samyangs are prime lenses, so they're not as flexible, obviously. I've got to say, the Sigma lenses, I absolutely love them. They're not, they're just, I don't know, I love the look of the Canon EF mount lenses. They're like, they look like rockets, but the Sigmas, I don't see that there's a lot of, unless you really know what you're looking for in a lens, like you really know how to tell the difference between the imagery, I don't know. For me, there's not much in it. Okay, let's get this stuck on here. I do like the Blackmagic Pocket Camera. The battery and the audio is just ridiculous. So now you've got your everything set up in place. I know that some camera ops or directors don't like to have tripod head slider, tripod head camera, because then there's too many steps in between the camera and the tripod. I understand that. It does mean that things are a little bit more wobbly. You know, you've got too many steps in between what you're trying to stabilize and the stabilizing medium of the tripod. But I don't know, I find that like being able to, I tend to use the tripod to make sure it's absolutely flat. Otherwise you've got to do everything with the legs. So use the head that's on the tripod. And also, if you've only got one tripod with you and you're a one-man band and you're shooting on the fly, how are you going to constantly be taking the tripod head on and off? It's a pain unless you've got a separate tripod with you, which again is just another ridiculous thing to carry. So here we go. One thing I noticed they haven't fixed is they've still only got one mounting screw underneath the body of the slider, which is kind of annoying. But whatever, I guess they were trying to save on. This is nicely machined. It seems the whole thing seems bigger than the last slider, the Edelkrone slider, normal size one that I had before. This is the thing that makes the Edelkrone special for me. With most sliders, you'd put it on a tripod and you get that much travel out of it. Check this out. Uh-oh, somebody's getting a bit more sliding action out of their slider. So the actual, the thing that the cradle that the head sits on also travels along the runners. So awesome. Smooth as silk, smooth as a baby's bum. Let's have a go with this and see what we, oh yeah. I would never use the Blackmagic Pocket Camera as anything other than a second camera, I don't think. Although I recently shot a bit of a road trip and used it as, with an 8mm Samyang lens on, I used it as the kind of in windshield view. Now you get to see what my house looks like from the other side. The other side of the lens. Rock and roll, man. Yeah, that's lovely. And then obviously if you want to do tracking forward shots, you can mount, no you can't, I was going to say you could mount a tripod at each end of this, but you actually can't. So it is just about how strong your tripod is. The problem is if you get a bigger camera on here and you get to one end of the slide, it does, on the last one I had anyway, it tended to bend a little bit with the slide. So, you know, you'd be at one end of the slide and you'd be at a slight angle, and then by the time you get to the other end, you'd be almost like doing a crescent moon kind of maneuver. Edelkrone have just brought out a little while ago a load more modular additives for this slider, which are actually amazing, like really cool idea. There's one that hooks onto one end that's like a target module, so that instead of having to try and do this, which I can do because I'm awesome, but not everybody can, and it is quite challenging, I suppose. To try and get the try and sort of you know, track around something and keep it in the middle of shot. So there's a thing you can, there's like literally a pack that you stick on the end here, and you just go, okay, target is 1 foot away, keep that where it is, and then you press a button and it just goes, which is actually pretty awesome. And there's another thing that they do, which is kind of more for like time lapses, where you can program it to either do the movement on its own, or you can program it to do pulse movements where it moves like a millimeter every hour. So you can do really long time lapses. You know, those ones you see of like starscapes, where you see in the foreground a tree that's just slightly moving, ghostly, sliding across the frame. Those do look amazing, and there's no way of you getting them manually. So yeah, you'd have to get the modules to do that. But just for running and gunning, I use a slider all the time for corporate videos and for, yeah, like I said, anything that I shoot. So they're pretty awesome. That's that camera on there. Let's see if it handles a bigger camera any better. Because this is really the test of this slider, is to see whether it will deal with something more meaty. I'll discard the pocket camera in favour of the FS700. As I said, this is the real test. If it can deal with this camera, then I'm sold and I'm in. And yeah, that's me basically. But if it bows on either side of the slide, well, it might be to do with the tripod, it might be to do with the slider, it might be a bit of both, who knows. Okay, yeah, there's a bit of shift there, but that is the tripod. I just wish I had a more stable tripod. Basically, these are Vinton Pro 10s and they're actually brilliant on the whole. I love them, but once you start putting heavy things on one end of a slider on them, you know, it's physics, and we can't, there's no beating physics, is there? It's just there, you can't defy it, sadly. It is our God. It's the glue that binds us. Okay, right. Initiating sexy slider move. Sexy slider move initiated. Uh-oh, something looks awesome. Yeah, that does look good. That really does. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. I mean, a slider's a slider, so it's just a way of moving your camera side to side without it looking handheld and crazy. So there's only so much you can say about it, other than I love Edelkrone. By the way, I'm not paid by Edelkrone. They don't give me anything. I have never been in contact with them in any way, just so you know that I'm not bleating on about them for the sake of whatever. That's my ethics code right there. So I went to IBC the other day, the International Broadcast Convention or Conference in Amsterdam, and it was great. But I've only just got this FS700, And very frustratingly, Sony just announced, literally last weekend, that they're bringing out the Sony FS7, which for all intents and purposes is the same camera, I think. But its form factor is the shape of it, rather than looking like a box with a lens stuck on, like a shoe box that someone stuck the end of a toilet roll to. This is actually a documentarian's camera. Like, it's got a handheld kind of really ergonomic hand grip that comes down here. It's got this curved bottom that makes it look more like a Bolex, like an old 16mm. So yeah, I haven't got that camera. That's cool. I'm really happy about that. I'm glad that I spent all this money on this one. But this is still an awesome camera. I'm in love with it still. So, and that's not just bitterness. I genuinely am in love with it. Right, let's have a look. Let's try and do a trombone shot. This is going to fail miserably, and you're all going to think I'm a loser, more so than usual. Okay, I might not be able to focus at the same time, so that's just tough tits, I'm afraid. Okay, let's see how this is going to work. If you're shooting on like DSLRs and you're doing one-man band stuff, and you're going around and shooting a lot of kind of promo material, or you're just getting GVs to pepper and cutaways to pepper over an interview, one of the first things I would invest in, if I were you, is a slider. It changed the way I shot things. And it just means you can add a bit of production value for not that much money. You can get a really cheap version of these sliders. You can get them for like 50, 100 pounds. I got the Edelkrone just because it's more portable and you still get loads of movement with it. So for me, it was worth it. But here we go. Right, let's give this a go. Right, so trombone shot. Kind of works. If you don't mind it being out of focus, it's actually pretty good. If you were to do this properly, you'd want to have someone with a remote follow focus and all that jazz. But as we all know, if you're at the kind of level I'm at shooting, then you don't get to have a crew with you most of the time. You just have to rock up and film stuff. So on the whole, I would recommend one of these. I think they're awesome. Edelkrone, bang on, lovely company. They make nice stuff. This is like the 5th thing I've bought from them, so they seem to last. If you are going to get a slider, don't ever bang the rails on things, because if you do, then it dents and it won't slide as nicely. And that's a waste of a lot of money. It's an investment. So, man, that's not going to balance. See, this is the thing about having a camera like this with a monitor on the side, is now if I try and put it down, oh great, no, that's not happening. Awesome. So that's, it's just another thing to worry about. You have to balance it on stuff all the time, or leave it on a tripod. Which you can do. So yeah, that's the end of my unboxing and playing with the Edelkrone slider. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Way sliding. I'm Matt. You've been watching this video. Bye. Hello and welcome. I'm Matt Bell and this is Wolfshoulder Films. What do you want? Hello, I'm Matt Bell and this is an unboxing video from Wolfshoulder Films. Today we're going to be unboxing the... come here, you can't... That's ridiculous. Come on.